Hello there, and welcome to another episode of Roundtable Pod Racers. Today we are going to discuss the Clone Wars.
Woohoo!
So, as with me always, we have our lovely ladies.
I'm Julie from Infinity Jewels.
And Anna from La Geeky Life.
So we're just pretty much gonna get right into it. This is our first podcast of the year.
Oh yeah!
Oh, yeah.
Happy!
So,
I was gonna say
Happy New Year for
Happy
everyone.
2020.
And yeah, we're pretty much just gonna go over Clone Wars and just our thoughts, and pretty much this is the hype train leading up to the final season. So
A really cool little behind the scenes was that we actually planned to do this episode probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago. And the trailer for the new season came out yesterday, so it was kind of like a weirdly perfect timing situation going on with this. We all just saw the trailer and died.
So we recorded ourselves. So our live reaction video will probably be before you listen to this.
Yeah.
So yeah, check that out first if you're listening to this first, and then come back.
And as always, spoilers.
Yes, if you guys haven't watched Clone Wars like at all, like this is the perfect time. You only have like a month, not even.
Not even.
to
Like-
get caught up.
So we'll probably talk about the most important moments. Well, not important, the
Just
highlights,
like, I guess like our favorites.
our
right?
favorites. Yeah,
There's so much.
and then we can talk about the trailer as well.
Yeah.
So
Really quick, have you guys been doing like a rewatch for yourself or?
So since Clone Wars has been streaming in Disney Plus, I've been watching a little bit of Clone Wars and a little bit of Rebels because of the Mandalorian. So like I was showing my husband like some of the stuff from Clone Wars, like back with like what we first see Death Watch, and then to like Rebels and Bo-Katan and the Darksaber. So. But I used to be the person that would go to sleep or like will be working from home and having Clone Wars in the background.
The Clone Wars was your version of The Office.
Yes, yeah. So I feel like I probably have watched Clone Wars from like beginning to end, probably like 10 times.
Nice. Okay. And what about you, Alexis?
So I unfortunately haven't been streaming it now that it's on Disney Plus. When it was on Netflix, I would have that all the time. Like you were saying, like falling asleep, same thing. I would just leave it running. In small episodes, 30-minute or whatever episodes. So it was easy to watch and just like in between things. But now that it's on Disney Plus, yeah, I'm gonna, especially with this lead up to the final season, I'm definitely gonna be like putting it on there. I have some stuff to catch up. I need to catch up on Resistance and stuff like that. So I just
Started
love how it's
Resistance.
all there. I love Disney Plus.
Mm-hmm.
Well, but the Resistance new season is not on Disney Plus.
No, it isn't.
So that's what it's been difficult to watch it because
Yeah.
then I have to go on demand and it's more of a struggle than just like
Clicking a button,
Yeah.
I started my rewatch on Tuesday with the 2003 version of Clone Wars.
Okay.
It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And I
so-
found it on YouTube. I just
Yeah.
went through it. Apparently it's not canon, which surprised me a lot because
Not anymore.
a lot of it is very like you could kind of see it still as mostly canon, and then like maybe like the last like 2 or 3 clips you're like, okay, this is where it cuts off. But then I saw the Clone Wars movie, and now I'm gonna start the show again soon.
Okay. Are you going to do the chronological order? Because I know Netflix didn't have the correct order because that's not how it aired.
Yeah.
But in StarWars.com, you can look for Clone Wars chronological order, and it shows up because there's actually like 2 or 3 episodes before the Clone Wars movie.
Yeah.
And then...
Oh crap! Obviously not, because
Right.
So I always recommend it that way because
tricky.
you'll see like the episode and you're like, wait, that happened before.
I think I noticed that when I first watched it,
Yeah.
because I watched it on Netflix. Okay, I'll look that up.
The majority is like how it is, and I think I read somewhere, and I don't know if this is 100% true, that supposedly Disney Plus has the correct order.
Okay.
I am not 100% sure because they do have it by season, so I'll have to double check, but I know I liked one of the like the latest runs have been in chronological order, and the first seasons kind of like make more sense.
Okay, I'll check that out. We're actually doing it in like the extreme way. I started with the Phantom Menace, and then I did Attack of the Clones, and then that's why I wanted to see the 2003.
Yeah,
because I know that that's where you see like the knighting, that's where you first meet Ventress and all that. Right. So I was like, I don't care if it's not canon. I'm pretending it's canon for the sake of like the continuality throughout.
Yeah.
And then now I'm gonna watch Clone Wars. And
nice.
I don't know yet if I'm gonna do Rebels after episode 3, but I really want to. So I probably will commit to this for a while.
I mean, I recently watched episode 1, 2, and 3. And then I thought about that. I'm like, I should watch Clone Wars now. Like, because I love seeing like the first side of the clones and kind of like, seeing Cody and whatever. And then I was rewatching today the episodes where where Fives and like he gets all twisted and kills the Jedi. Well, not the other one. Yeah. And so I was like, oh man, like
that's like season 5 or something.
It's the last season.
Yeah.
So I'm like, ugh.
Jedi Fallen Order actually is what made me want to redo Clone Wars really bad because there's a lot of like connections, and I was like, it's time.
Nice.
Saw Gerrera and stuff like that. But yeah, I think we should just kind of touch upon like where Clone Wars came like for you within your like fandom, right?
Oh,
so for me, it's actually an interesting story because I was one of those that was like, oh, that's just a kid's show, it looks cartoony, and I was just completely ignoring it for like the first like 2 years that it was out. I was just like, nah, in my head, I was being one of those guys, just like, it's kiddie,
Cartoon Network,
cartoon and stuff like that or whatever. But then eventually I started watching it and I was like, okay, cool, I like this. And then I started really getting into it and watching the entirety of the series. And so it's actually interesting because this is the first, Star Wars show that we have. We've never, before the Clone Wars, there was not, like an episodic thing. I mean, Clone Wars itself, but, with that not being canon shortly thereafter, this was like
a lot of shorts too. It was all like tiny little
like 15-minute episodes and stuff like that. So this was the first time that we've had like, okay, this is a show. This is like, and it was canon and it was headed by Dave Filoni, but George it was
created by George Lucas.
Right.
He was Dave Filoni in the first 4 seasons is only the supervising director.
Yeah. So
it's like heavily made by George Lucas.
Lucas himself. So.
From the creator.
Yeah, and like especially with like a lot of the like I think all the episodes they start off with that like kind of 1940s almost like a war. Yeah. The Jedi. So it's like really like truly Star Wars like coming from Lucas, and like you could tell that Flash Gordon influence and like the serialized like what Star Wars pretty much is, that serialized media, serialized television.
And that voice kind of acted, and like you got to remember that it's a kid show, but the voice actually acted like an opening crawl in the beginning of each episode.
Yeah.
But kids don't read, so they had a little funny voiceover.
Yeah. And then how each episode opens up with a quote, like some type of wisdom, imparting wisdom and stuff. So, I was like, oh, it's more kid stuff. But then I'm like, maybe I'll start watching this. And, and then I didn't make that same mistake with the subsequent series. Like Rebels kind of was the same way. Like it started off like, not so sure. But I'm like, oh, I learned my mistake from Clone Wars. Let me keep watching this. And eventually it does pay off and stuff like that.
Nice.
So.
That's good. What about you, Anna?
Well, I remember I've been an animation fan forever. Like I could watch cartoons all day.
Oh yeah.
I'm that type of person. So for me, I remember like Clone Wars is old. Mm-hmm. Like I was back
2008.
2008.
Yeah, I was like back in high school.
12 years ago.
Well, graduating high school. Oh my god, I feel old. So I remember when it came out because I had just moved here in Miami. And like I didn't know anybody, so I would like come home and just watch it on the TV, and I'm like, oh my god, it kind of made. I always say that Clone Wars made my love for Star Wars appear again, because you have the movies, but there's not much more. Like, especially not being raised in the United States, like we didn't have like like you see my room now, like collectibles and
Right.
stuff. Like I didn't get to see all of that before. So for me, Clone Wars was like, oh, here, fall in love with the movies all over
Yeah.
again, and like start learning about all the other characters.
Yeah.
And then just like, for me, Ahsoka was like the top of the top. Like I was just like, oh my god, finally, like a female Jedi, and she was awesome. So yeah, it was a good moment. Like I had nothing to do but watch Clone Wars. What about you, Julie?
So I'm a little bit like you, Alexis, but almost more extreme. So like, I was a kid when Clone Wars came out.
Yes.
A wee lass. I was in middle school.
Oh my god, it's such a baby.
Like probably my first year of middle school too. And so in like that era, I was very into Cartoon Network, but I had already like evolved into more like Nickelodeon and Disney Channel, and like I just went through like stages as a child, you know, like you're into one channel, then you're into another, and then another. And I've always loved Star Wars since I was a kid, but it's kind of like what you said, that there was like, I loved the movies, but there was nothing really there to continue sparking it, except for like toy lightsabers and stuff like that, and pretending you're a Jedi. But yeah, so I didn't really watch much of it. I probably saw like a couple episodes here and there, just when like nothing else was on. I didn't really follow it as well. And then like 3 years ago, Anna convinced me to watch it. And I did. So I saw like the movie, and my love for Star Wars at this point was like peak. So I was like, I'm gonna do all of this. I don't care. Whatever. Who needs a life? And I binged that and Rebels right before going to Star Wars Celebration Orlando.
I remember.
Yeah.
Good
That was a really
times.
good time.
It was. No, yeah, I mean, Clone Wars, the thing is that even though there's some episodes that are very kiddish. Like,
Oh, yeah, there were some episodes that were
you can
hard
skip
to get through.
You know. But the majority, it tells you so much story about, and you see, like, especially with characters such as Anakin, like, we already know his destiny. We already know what's going to happen to him. We know he's Vader. But to see that transition, I mean, it makes it worth it.
Yeah, and not only that, but I mean, when I was a kid, I really liked the prequels. But like as I grew even like a little bit older, like by the time I was in high school, I was like, nah, original trilogy all the way. And so when I saw those movies, I still am a little about the prequels. I make fun of them every time they're on, but I have so much of a deeper appreciation for them because of Anakin specifically and ObiWan. But like, I mentioned that I was watching Attack of the Clones. I'm like, how can Padme find this guy attractive? Like, I get it, he's super cute, but what he's saying is so creepy. And then I watch Clone Wars, and I'm like, I get it.
Yeah,
I get it.
No, like I've gotten that comment a lot. Like, oh, but why do you like that romance in the movies is not there? And I'm like, no, yeah, it's true. You don't see it as much. But watch Clone Wars, and then you're like, yeah, this is a good show. Like, be careful. But yeah, so I mean, there's so much. There's so many episodes. I love that Clone Wars was like every season was like 20-something episodes.
Yeah.
So what are some of the episodes that you're like, okay, if you can only watch like 5 episodes, what are they?
Oh,
or like
you went right to it.
Yes,
I'm
thinking about like
not 5 arcs.
No, well, it could be an arc, but yeah.
I have. Do you want to answer first?
Yeah, because I actually have them.
You're more prepared than me. I have to think about it a little bit.
I have them noted down here by seasons and stuff. So the first in the first season, really the 2 things that kind of stand out is actually that first episode, that Yoda episode called Ambush.
Yeah.
I really liked that episode because it was taking this character that is such like a mystical character and showing how he was dealing with actual clones themselves, and him saying like yeah, you guys all look the same, but you guys are each individual, like you guys are all unique, and kind of just showing that Jedi clone trooper kind of relationship, and just seeing Yoda just best Ventress's tricks and plots was really cool. The other one of the first season that I really liked was the Ryloth arc, which is kind of towards the end of the first season. There's like 3 episodes: Storm on Ryloth, Storm over Ryloth, Innocence on Ryloth, and then I forgot the third one, Liberty on Ryloth.
Is that the one with the little girl and the clone?
Numa. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It starts off with Anakin and Ahsoka trying to run the blockade over the planet, which I think we got that spider. I forgot his name, but he's
the creature.
Yeah, but he's like the separatist. He's like a separatist captain or general. I forgot his name right now, but he's like he's like a spider guy basically. And this is the first time that we see him in the series. He actually comes up later on in the series, but this was the first time, and I really liked him. I'm like, oh, okay, this is like kind of like a more like tactical type of, almost like a Thrawn type of enemy, and him just kind of reading like the Jedi and just how that he kind of had, their everything that they were doing planned and stuff like that. And then they get to the planet, and then it's ObiWan and like Mace Windu on the planet, and then that little arc was great.
Plus, you see Syndulla there.
Yeah, Cham Syndulla. You see him for the first time, and
another episode of season 1 that I really like is where Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Count Dooku are like trapped, and they have to work together to get away from Hondo. And I was Hondo. Like, man, like even though they're on opposite sides, you can see how they needed to get out. So good old Hondo was being bad, but yeah. So I love that.
I have a newfound love for Dooku after reading the book. I forgot the name of it. Jedi Lost?
Jedi Lost. Well, Dooku Jedi Lost.
There we go. I have a very big love for him now, and like when I watch the movies, I don't know, I see him in like in a different point of view kind of. It's a different point of view. And so
the part where Dooku says to Obi-Wan like a Sith Lord is running the Senate, like
he literally told him the whole thing,
and it's like, I don't believe you. It's like he's telling you everything.
He literally is like, he is leading the Senate. You voted him in. And he's a Sith Lord. And
the particular part that he says like, Qui-Gon once thought as you did. You know what I'm saying? And then that book kind of really delves into like, it kind of gives you more like, it gives more gravitas to that particular line.
Yeah.
And I just, like I said, like, I think, Clone Wars gave me a newfound love for, like, everybody. And including the old people, including the new people. And one of my favorites is Ventress. So my answer to this question is pretty much anything Ventress.
Anything Ventress? Good.
Yeah,
I love Ventress.
Too,
yeah, she's right off the bat. She's perfect.
Well, if we're going by seasons,
I didn't do that much homework for this episode, so like I will participate, but
because I'm looking at the list.
Oh, okay. I could pull it up on my phone while you guys speak.
But yeah, so that was my favorite from season 1. From season 2, I would have to go with the Mandalore plot.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That was amazing.
For sure.
Because, we see a lot of the stuff that we're still dealing with right now with the Mandalorian. But I loved Obi-Wan's and Satine's relationship.
Yes.
Oh, that was only season 2? Wow, I thought that was like way later in.
Yeah, well, there's different Mandalore stuff, but the first one is like where they discovered that the Duchess helper is like a fraud pretty much. Yeah. So they have to get rid of him and whatever. So I love that. And another one was the deserter.
The deserter.
Yeah,
yes.
I love that because it shows like kind of like a trooper learning or realizing what they're capable of and realizing how that's wrong, and he's somehow with sometimes they don't really explain as much, but yeah, I love that episode. Yeah. What about you, Alexis, for season 2?
For me, season 2, the first I like the I guess it would be the Geonosis arc, which would kind of make it like the second battle of Geonosis. There's, I believe, the first episode of that arc is landing at Point Rain, where the Separatists have basically taken over Geonosis, and the Jedi have to free it again. Because the first
season 2.
Yeah, the first battle of Geonosis happened during Attack of the Clones, and then this, I believe it's this season where it's like no, landing at Point Rain, stuff like that.
Landing at Point Rain is in this one.
Yeah.
Oh, you see? Okay, so this might be already fixed.
That's the fix. I'm looking at Wikipedia.
I'm looking at a Disney Plus.
Ah.
And Disney Plus doesn't have that on season 2.
Where does it have it?
I don't know, but it's not gonna be. It's not.
Yeah.
Maybe season 3 because I don't see it in.
All right.
They fixed it. Yeah.
They fixed it.
Okay. Maybe going by seasons is a little rough because there's so many different orders. So
yeah.
Maybe we should just talk about our favorites.
Yeah. Okay. So going back, if you had to pick 5 episodes.
Oh my gosh.
So there's this one arc that I kind of hated actually at the beginning, and then you know how Clone Wars does that thing where like each episode of an arc kind of features like a different character or focus on something different.
Yeah.
They kind of did that with this, and it made it my favorite arc of the show, I think. It's the one where the clones, including Rex, are on a planet, and I don't remember the name of the planet, but they're being commanded. Sorry, I'm hearing weird static. They're being commanded by this guy.
Krell.
I think it is Krell.
Yeah.
He's like the big ugly alien guy, and he's really like, you're just a clone. You're useless.
Yeah.
Like you're. My God, what's the word? Expendable. Expendable. You're expendable.
Yeah, you're thinking of the Umbaran.
Carnage of Krell.
Yeah, that's the Umbaran arc. That's actually probably up there as well. That episode right there is like, whoa, like, not all Jedi are good, you know. And this guy was just trying to cause carnage and just to appease, Count Dooku. He was trying to gain his attention.
Yeah, that's one of my favorites for sure. And then I also really love the Night Sisters arc.
Oh, yes.
Because, hello, me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there's like it's not like one episode, but there's like a weird consistency. I don't know if it's the way I watched it, but there's like, it's almost like 2 arcs back to back, and I don't like the arcs themselves as much, but it's Satine and Obi-Wan having the romance, and then Anakin's kind of like, romance is weird, right? And Obi-Wan's like,
yeah, when they're in the ship and...
But then like directly after that, Ahsoka has that crush on that boy, and he's like, romance is weird, right? And she's like, yeah.
Yeah.
So like the fact that they had it, or at least like when I watched it, it was like very like close to each other. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
So I liked that little connection
For
there.
me, it has to be the Mortis arc.
Oh
is
yeah,
one of my favorite.
Up there. For sure.
The whole Ahsoka's last arc. From sabotage to the wrong Jedi. For me, I cry every time I watch it.
Yeah,
like,
that's
literally
that's
cry.
another favorite arc.
Yes. And the one with Maul and the Mandalorians.
I'm gonna add another one. The arc where Maul, but with Savage.
Oh,
that's probably because then Ventress is in that arc too.
Right.
And then they have that fight with Savage and Maul versus Obi-Wan and Ventress, and I was like, Obi-Wan and Ventress has been the fight that I've always wanted to see and never really needed.
And it's in a ship. It's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I loved, and this is when there's some like of the moms that I work with when they ask me like, oh, do you recommend Clone Wars for the kids? And I'm like, certain episodes, because every time they ask me this, I think of the episode where they find Maul. And that episode is so creepy and dark.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, no, like, because the first time I watched it, it was at night. I was like, okay, I'm scared. Like, I need to watch something else. But yeah, no, that episode is intense. And it's like, you see so much hate of him against Obi-Wan. Like his life depended on destroying this individual, and it makes you like realize how Maul went from there to all the way to Rebels.
You're gonna make me cry.
So let me say mine.
Okay.
Because you guys are saying your favorites, so I think I have mine. My favorite, I guess, a few episodes would be when Yoda goes on his mission and he meets the Force priestesses. That's in season 6, which is the
that's
Lost.
The end, right?
The
Okay.
Lost
Yes,
Missions,
that's a lot.
which was only available on Netflix up until now or whatever. But
Is it?
But it's on Disney Plus.
Right?
it's already on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was only available
on Netflix. They came out with those 3 episodes. That's it. The Lost Missions.
Yeah,
I remember.
And I like that because it's like it fills a little bit of gaps with the canon. Like how did Yoda find out how to be a Force ghost? We just assumed that he was just so powerful at the time, but then no, he has to learn. Like he's going through like trials and like facing his demons, facing his dark side and stuff like that. I really like that because to me that like shows like that maybe the Jedi really are more powerful than the Sith. You know, to me in my headcanon it's like yes, the Jedi actually like achieve something that everyone's trying to achieve, you know, which is this immortality, and they're doing it in a way that's like, you know, like almost like Avatar, like they're becoming one with everything. The next one would have to be definitely Maul's Mandalore arc. So by the time he links up with Vizsla, and him and Savage like, you know, basically say, no, this is what we're gonna do. Like we're working with them. We're working with Death Watch just to get what we need, and then once we have what we need, then we're gonna get rid of them. One particular moment of that arc is when Maul actually force chokes Bo-Katan. Like, and he holds her, he's force choking her, and he's explaining, talking to Vizsla, like all like calm, cool, and collect, and she's just like, aren't you guys gonna do something? Like this guy's choking me, and like whatever. That part was cool, and then which leads up to, you know, Darth Maul killing or assassinating Duchess Satine, and then ObiWan just like all that grief.
They're
like,
so weird,
dude. Like so that, and then those are my 2 big ones. I like all the Jedi stuff. I like all the like, you know, just the fighting and stuff. The only other one that's probably that comes to mind is the kind of the Order 66 like plot, you know what I'm saying? Like them, you know, finding out, like the clones themselves finding out like that, you know, they have these chips in their head that, you know, and which changes the canon. And, you know, up until that point, we just assumed that it was just like an order. Okay, you're my superior. I'm going to listen to what you say.
Yeah,
you
never think like, oh shit, like they were like their own people and whatever. They were freaking brainwashed into doing it. They weren't evil.
Right.
No, switch to like a switch. Okay, now press of the button and that's it. Like now they have that chip and like,
yep.
Like C-3PO and the rest of Skywalker. Yeah.
Do you guys remember? Because I watched the movie and I was trying to like think about it, but who originally asked for them to be made? Was it Sidious?
It was Sifo Dyas.
Yeah,
but was it actually him? Because now that we know,
him.
In Dooku.
It was him, and then just shortly after he put the order in, he was assassinated, or you know, he was killed by, you know, whatever. Dooku
we don't
and
know.
Stuff like that.
He was killed by Dooku.
Yeah. In the Clone Wars, actually, they figure out.
Yeah.
Because Plo Koon ends up finding Jedi Sifo Dyas' ship. He finds his lightsaber, and then that's what sparks the investigation.
I don't like that. After reading the book, I'm like, ow.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, exactly. Right, because Sifo Dyas is like his best friend. He's like the supporting character.
Since they were kids.
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's the Sith life.
Dooku.
Yeah.
Sith happens. One episode that I just remember because I had the list. For me that I love was Deception. When Obi-Wan goes and changes his whole look and like transforms into like a criminal, that what that did to Anakin, because they had to lie to him. Right. That you see already, like,
oh yeah,
look what you're doing, and look about like the relationship you have with this guy. So I always loved that episode.
Another good one to start showing like his connection failure is when R2 gets lost. I think it's like one of the first few episodes.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
Obi-Wan's like, it's just a droid. Who cares? Like,
Yeah.
forget about it. And then he's like, no, I can't.
Yeah.
And then, I think, like,
Can't let
that's
him
already
go.
showing, like,
Can't let him go.
yeah.
Attachments.
I know.
And then you were mentioning the Mortis arc. One of the episodes I think is one of the most singular, important episodes of the Clone Wars is I think Altar of Mortis, which is the last episode,
Altar, yeah.
which is confirming that Anakin Skywalker is the chosen one. Like, he physically proved it, with getting the son and the daughter, which are pretty much the embodiments of the light and dark side, having them bend the knee, to him. So, like, this was showing, like, okay, no, he is the chosen. Because there's always, I mean, maybe now it might get convoluted again with Rey, but at that time it was only Anakin and Luke, and people were saying, there's evidence showing Luke is the chosen one, and there was evidence showing Anakin, but this was definitively saying, no, Anakin is the chosen one. So I think that's an important episode of the series.
Yeah, for
to
sure.
go into that too, like, even, like, cinematography wise, I think that episode is probably one of the greatest ones due to the scene where he's, like, having all the flash forwards. Is that what you call them?
Visions.
Visions, premonitions.
Yeah.
Of him becoming Vader, and just that scene of, like, the
The
camera
ghost,
like swirling around him, and then it, like, he screams, and behind him is the Vader mask with the music.
Yeah.
I have chills.
Yeah.
Like, every time, like, it's
so powerful. And he says, I will become, like, I can't make this happen. But then he, like, says another line, and he says, no, it is the Jedi who will stand in the way of peace. And it's like, oh, no. Like,
But
it is true.
he lost his memory in that. I feel like if he would have kept the memory, maybe he wouldn't have changed. Because he was very, like, gung-ho about, I can't let this happen. That's freaking awful.
Right.
And I think if they let him keep his memories, we would have a whole different saga.
Yeah. The original trilogy out the window.
I love how this episode kind of messes with, like, if Ahsoka would have stayed, Anakin wouldn't have become Vader.
Yeah.
Or if he would have kept those dishes, then, this wouldn't happen.
Right.
I love how this show messes with all of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And, like, Obi-Wan with Satine, if they had relationships, Padme, like, not being so secretive and all of that stuff. And
wasn't there in that arc also the Qui-Gon Force Ghost was in that arc?
Yeah.
He was in the first episode. When they get there, like, the first night that they're there, they're sleeping in a cave. Qui-Gon appears to Obi-Wan, and I think Anakin, but yeah, definitely Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and Ahsoka's older version, which we never see that older version of her ever again, comes out as well.
Maybe we will.
Stop it. But one of the things that I loved about the Clone Wars is that there wasn't ever a wasted character.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even, like, Lucas Syndulla, like, he came out, there was an arc, and that's it. And you're like, okay, there was this guy. No, he's the dad of Hera Syndulla.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Saw
Gerrera, the sister Saw Gerrera, and, like, you see that, and then you get to understand way, way, way more.
The only character that I wish will have something after Clone Wars is Cad Bane. Because I feel like he was such a relevant character, and he was so awesome and cool, but then he has, like, zero connections to anything else.
Yeah.
Maybe he comes out. He's a very loved character.
He's awesome.
Actually, like Hondo. Hondo came out again in Rebels.
Yeah.
And something else. Whoop, whoop.
Oh.
Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah. I kind of know that. They say the animatronic for that is, like, spot on.
It's really good.
It's really good. You think it's a person.
That's crazy.
Yeah, that one, I really like that specific animatronic. I won't say anything else.
Okay. I mean, I already saw it.
I know, but I don't want to spoil it for him or our listeners.
Yeah.
Just in case. I don't know. I know people are very crazy about Rise of the Resistance stuff. And Galaxy's Edge. All right. Anyway.
Well,
so
let's, to finish, let's look at the trailer. Kind of break down, the highlights that we saw in the trailer. And I am going to play it. And
should we mute it? So that way, I don't know if it'll sound good on the microphone. That's the only reason why.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that it starts like the movies with the ship.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it starts right away with like action.
Yeah, they show us like, I feel like they're showing us like the exact setting that everything is in, but picking up right where the show left off.
Yeah, there's Maul.
Ugh, he looks so angry.
Angry.
So, okay, we need to go back.
Yeah.
So
Theory time.
Theory, because I saw that and forgot her name.
So we're looking at like a conference right now of the Jedi leaders. They're looking at some type of map. This is from the final season trailer, so you guys can look it up on YouTube. We're paused at the part that
25 seconds.
Yeah, so we're paused like it's 25 seconds in, and what it looks like is Depa Billaba and a young Kanan Jarrus.
From Rebels.
Or Caleb Doom.
So I really think it's him.
I think it's him.
It has to be him.
Depa Billaba's next to him.
And this is Filoni at its finest. Like,
yeah.
You guys love, and everybody loves Freddie Prinze Jr. So here you go.
It would make sense.
Yeah, I know. So,
I doubt he has any lines though.
He might say like one thing. I don't know. Ugh.
He might, or she might be like, "Stop, Caleb," or
yeah.
Listen,
like,
this is important.
So we see Ahsoka in this.
We see a new character.
Yeah, which we saw like a little bit of explanation in Celebration about those new characters. They're like sisters or something.
Oh right, yes.
So
yeah, that's right.
In the underground, but I love this part. Like
I know, me too.
This is part where Ahsoka is meeting with Bo-Katan, and they're kind of like shaking, like military hands.
Gladiator style.
Gladiator, there you go. That's the word. So I've been waiting for this to happen forever. So I'm so excited about this.
It's like two of your favorites.
I know.
And then Ahsoka's like questioning everything still, which makes sense. I mean, she did leave the Jedi Order.
Action, you got the Bad Batch there.
They look so awesome.
Look at this awesome with all the Mandalorians flying around. Yeah, this has to be the Siege of Mandalore right there.
Especially because there's a lot of droids.
Do you guys think Maul is on Mandalore still?
I think
so.
I
feel
showed
like he is, right?
The trailer shows some of the Mandalores with the Maul.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's the spider thingy we were talking about.
I love the Ahsoka clone trooper helmets.
Yes.
Yeah,
and I also kind of wonder why they have them. Like, are they not following Anakin anymore?
There's an explanation for that.
I saw what they were talking. They kind of.
Do you want to pause it? I know.
All right. So I saw in the footage from Celebration that they showed like a lot of this stuff, and I think they even said it that they imply that she comes back to take command.
So like a last mission or something.
Last mission, and then Rex says, like, we're with you, Commander, and she sees for the first time that they like painted their helmets and stuff like that. The everything else is the same. It's just the helmets. That are.
They missed her.
Yeah, of course. That was their buddy.
Yeah. So that's gonna be a whole crying scene.
Yeah.
And then we see Anakin force calling. No, well,
it's like it's a holocall. It's not a Reylo call.
But they're like holding hands.
But they are doing the Reylo thing.
Very Reylo style. So and she looks pregnant.
That's what I'm saying. Like in this, she looks pretty pregnant. So look at she's even touching her belly. She's touching
that belly, and I believe she has the outfit that has like her pregnancy outfit that has the belt.
They're both wearing the outfits they wear in episode 3. I've heard things that this takes place during episode 3.
It's kind of
which makes sense because we also see a super angry Anakin. Like, I think Anakin looks different in this than he did at the end of the other Clone Wars.
He does. I know one of the things that I heard from like the panels that I would listen is that there's better animation nowadays because of the technology. So he mentioned you're going to see a little bit of difference in the characters and how they've evolved technologically. But I do see like Anakin has longer hair and he looks a little bit older than when he looked before.
Yeah, like him, like I feel you mean that he looks different a little bit like animation wise.
Yeah.
Because I think all of them do a little bit.
Yeah.
But something about him specifically looks different too, like as a character almost. And I feel like it has to do with like the whole anger thing and becoming Vader.
Yeah, but I'm very, very interested in to see when this little holocall takes place, because, I mean, if that's the first time he's seeing her and she's talking to him, then he would know that she's pregnant before episode 3. You know what I'm saying? Where she does the big reveals, Annie, I'm pregnant. So I'm very curious to find out when this takes place.
I think that's why people are saying this is during.
It has to be during.
But
this is after.
It's weird because when Revenge of the Sith does he go off? Like, you know, like where?
So I think this is gonna end like Siege of Mandalore, Anakin stepping Vader.
That's what you think?
Order 66. Like, it's probably gonna end with Order 66. Because he already knows here that she's pregnant. She's using the outfit that she has after.
Yeah, after she's
when
pregnant.
When she goes to Mustafar.
She's got a little belly too. Like,
it's not as much as
it's not as much in the movie.
After. I mean, she's carrying twins. So she
should
should
be
be
bigger. Way bigger.
But this brings a lot of questions.
Yeah, a lot of questions.
But okay, wait. Click play because I want to see the scene where he's angry. I don't know if we passed that already. I don't think we did. And there's a lot of space battles, a lot that.
Yeah, he was a little angry.
He was angry. His eyes were like.
So in 136.
Why does he look like Kylo there?
Like
boom.
Yeah, and Obi-Wan already.
But there's
looks
another
like,
angry scene too.
Obi-Wan looked like kind of like disappointed in that scene. I mean, I might already be overanalyzing everything, but that. And that's Mandalore right there.
That is Mandalore.
That's like the throne room of Mandalore.
So he's clearly still a Mandalore. We're watching Darth Maul. Darth Maul 141.
Facing off against
Ahsoka. I know so many names.
I was gonna say Kanan for a second, but Ahsoka.
So yeah, they're both in their power stance, and
there's Ahsoka's.
I mean, we both know they survived and they meet again.
Right.
Yeah,
but like, how? Why are they like?
So what's interesting about this is that.
You were saying about the sabers.
Right. Well, I want to get to that in a second, but Maul and Ahsoka fighting, we actually read about it in Ahsoka, the novel Ahsoka.
Yes.
Like the first couple of pages.
She talks about that they fought.
So you think it's this one?
I think it's that. I think it's.
I'm just gonna reread the book now.
Like it's
the first.
It's like the first couple of pages, and it's.
So is this before the book takes place?
Not entirely.
Okay, so some of it's before, some of it's after.
Right.
It starts also with her doing flashbacks of the Order 66.
Right.
So
does she talk about why her blades are blue?
I know in the celebration footage
they talked about it.
You I mean, I don't know if I should say it, but
no, don't say it because I like that part.
They give.
Wait. Do you remember?
Yes.
Okay, I want to know. Screw it. Tell me.
All right. Well, spoiler alert. What I'm saying now is they only released it in celebration.
But
Chicago.
It was available on YouTube.
Oh, okay, cool.
I watched
so
the whole
everybody
thing on
should have
YouTube.
been able to see it. Okay, so
just
Julie asked about her blue sabers. So Anakin basically gave her these sabers.
I cried.
And he basically says like they're like your old ones, but even better. And then she ignites, and you can see that it's the blue sabers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So this other thing about this is that you see that Darth Maul has a saber staff, which we really haven't seen since the Phantom Menace. I think chronologically.
Yeah.
Anyway, you don't see him with a double-bladed lightsaber only up until this point. So half of his saber is his original saber from the Phantom Menace, and then the other saber that he has connected to it is actually Asajj Ventress's saber. Not her curved hilts, which are the ones that people normally know her as, but her saber from Dark Disciple, which was made from unused Clone Wars scripts, and that saber is a standard single-bladed saber, like single regular saber, but the blade is actually like a yellow. Like
I wonder why it's red then in this.
Well, the theories, not theories.
What
we know about Ahsoka's books is that a saber that's turned red is because, like, pretty much it's bleeding. The crystal, Sith Lord makes it bleed and it becomes red. The same thing with, like, spoiler alert, Ahsoka grabbing the new sabers that she gets, and she grabbed it from a Sith. From one of the, well, not entirely a Sith, a... Inquisitor, thank you. And makes it white. Like, saves that crystal, which is beautiful. I thought that was amazing.
That is
so
really nice.
It could be, like you're saying, that it was Ventress and he made bleed the crystal.
He somehow found that, which now that we're talking about it, well, my theory is that now Maul ended up going back to Dathomir, finding her saber, because Asajj, I believe she dies on, sorry if you guys didn't know that, but she dies on Dathomir. So
I don't remember if she did or not. I feel like, didn't she die on a ship?
Yeah.
It was a ship?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very sad because you can see that Ventress and,
she was redeemed.
She was being, and she cared about Dooku, and Dooku was like, peace out.
Yeah.
Oh, he was abusive.
So then... Oof. So then now I'm very curious then, like, how did Maul end up getting her saber? Because that's definitely her
or they
saber.
brought it to him, like,
I don't know, I'm
we
having
found
issues.
it, because we also see Mandalorians going to different planets. Or, I don't know, so many things.
There are.
I guess we'll have to see this.
I kind of wish that they would do the Dark Disciples in this last season, but I know it's not enough, and I know that they already did the book for it.
Yeah.
So I'm a little sad that we're probably not going to see Ventress at all during this.
No, I doubt it.
Yeah.
Probably not. She's off on her own mission. And yeah, so going back to Maul, actually you mentioned it, but they explained during the celebration panel in Chicago that this Maul from this season is actually going to be like mocapped by Ray Park. So everything you see there is pretty much like live action Darth Maul. And then the voice is going to be Sam Witwer. So how we pretty
perfect.
much know. Yeah,
That's how it should be
that's
always.
That's how it is. That's the new, Maul and stuff. So that's going to be very cool. Like the last couple seconds you see Maul doing like the spin, and it's like, dude, that's awesome. That's Ray Park right
Ray
there.
Park. So. I'm excited. Do we know how the episodes are gonna come out? Like, is it gonna be like Mandalorian? I'm thinking it's gonna be one a week.
I think it's gonna be one a week. Like,
yeah.
I hope so, because it says Star Stream. Well, whatever. It's gonna come out February 21st. So that day I don't have plans.
Yeah.
She'll be here. But yeah.
And then we'll probably do a recap, right?
Oh, for sure.
Recap.
Yes.
It's 13 episodes?
I think that's what they had said.
That's awesome.
I think that's what they had said.
Yeah, because it's gonna be.
They're shorter too. Yeah. If they're following like how they did the original Clone Wars, like the 20-minute episodes or whatever. So.
I'm ready to see the Siege of Mandalore. Siege of Mandalore has been like. There's been hints of it everywhere.
Everywhere.
Like the Ahsoka book, and and even Dave Filoni. I think even Sam Witwer was like trying to get Filoni to spill the beans. Like I think Filoni said that they had a dinner somewhere and he just not let him go. Like and like other people as well on the show, like wanting to know, wait, Siege of Mandalore, like. And all these years later, we're finally getting
and it's like a perfect time too with the way the Mandalorian ended. We're gonna be able to get some answers probably.
Yeah, because people are thinking then Ahsoka is gonna come out in season 2 of the Mandalorian. So it's like why? But yeah.
I think I'm a little bit mixed on that.
I don't know. I don't want anybody to play Ahsoka but Ashley. So
Rosario Dawson wants it.
I know.
And I'm kind of like very okay with that. I think she looks the part and I think she's spunky enough to be Snips.
I think so, but I think it's like the voice, like, so you're gonna have her.
Yeah. That's the only thing, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but with the Phantom Menace, was Darth Maul, the actor under it was Ray Park, correct?
Yeah.
But the voice was somebody else.
It was not. It was like Peter.
It was something.
Some British guy.
They could do something like that. It just might be really awkward because Darth Maul had all that face paint.
Yeah.
So
and he barely had
lines.
Yeah,
so this one might be.
Yeah. Let's just keep proud. Maybe.
Let's just keep it to a human like Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan for sure.
Let's get a redhead.
I want a Clone Wars version of the sequel trilogy. Really bad. And I don't think we'll get it, but... Resistance is all we got for the sequel trilogy. But, like, you know what I mean? Because, like, with the sequel trilogy, with Clone Wars, we're directly following the main characters of the prequels. So it will just be cool, especially with like all the issues people have with it. Like I feel like Clone Wars helps the prequels, and people were like prequels are bad, and now they're like okay, they're kind of cool.
It definitely does.
So I think it could help it, and then Ahsoka could be there, and she could be with Rey, and Rey could have her new saber, and they could go to the world between worlds to save Kylo, and boom.
So you want a series after?
Maybe post.
Okay, so you want post. So after post sequel trilogy.
And then it wouldn't focus on the original trilogy characters, which is what everybody complains about. So I think I'm looking at you, Dave Filoni.
I mean, and every content that I can get from Filoni, I'm super happy and I'm excited because this is gonna this already looks awesome, and it's the trailer. And I mean, I for one, I don't watch trailers, but I needed to this one because I'm like, it's only 3 weeks away. If it would have been like 2 months, I wouldn't have watched it. But it's only like 3 weeks away. I'm gonna be a galaxy as soon, so I'll take my mind off it for a little bit and come back and watch.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So you guys have a chance to catch up before the final season.
Yes.
I mean, this is the last like canon stuff that we're gonna get for a bit.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's like the last probably prequel stuff that we're gonna get. So this is it.
Does ObiWan count as prequel stuff? It's technically post prequels, but like it's in that era, kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's gonna be live action and stuff like that.
Oh
so
yeah.
It's just gonna be a different flavor. But anyways, we hope you guys watch the Clone Wars. You know, we gave you our takes, but definitely watch it. There's a lot of episodes that we didn't mention. Plenty of good stuff there. If you like Jedi, if you like Sith, you know, it's all there. Mandalorians, Clone Troopers. Like, please do yourself a favor, and if you're a Star Wars fan, watch it.
Yeah. If you're not a fan of animation, get past it. Animation's the best.
Give it a try.
And if you are a fan of animation, but not a fan of Star Wars, I don't know why you're listening to this, but watch it.
Yeah. So yeah. Thank you guys for listening as always. And where can we find you guys?
So infinityjewels.wordpress.com. I have a YouTube page, Infinity Jewels, which you can also actually find our podcast on as well. Infinity Jewels on Facebook, Infinity Jewels on Instagram, and Infinity Jewels _ on Twitter.
So you can find me on Instagram at Lex_Adamus. I always post Star Wars related stuff, lightsaber stuff on there. You can also connect with me on Facebook as well. Facebook.com/Alexis.Adamus. And yeah, be sure to actually follow the Roundtable Pod Racers on Facebook as well.
Yes.
And we're on Spotify, iTunes, so we're on all that. So be sure to stick with us. We're gonna keep the hype train going. We'll probably do some episodes of season 7 for Clone Wars.
More than some.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely give us a like and stay tuned.
Yes, and you guys can find me at La Geeky Life on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and my blog at lageekylife.com. And we hope you get to stick around and listen. Send us questions, comments, concerns. We're here for you.
And may the Force be with you.
Always.
Bye.